Discipline isn't built in the spotlight, it's forged in silence. When no one's watching, no one cheering, no one validating you, that's when your real character is tested. Most people perform when someone's watching. The rare ones, they perform when they're alone. This isn't motivation, this is mental armor. This is the voice that tells you to keep going when your mind says stop. When the cameras are off, when the world is quiet and your excuses are loud, that's when discipline is born. Because the truth is simple. The work you do unseen determines the results everyone else will see. Welcome to Funny Fun Audiobook Gala, where silence becomes strength and discipline becomes destiny. You're listening to the discipline you need when no one is watching. Sit back, lock in, and remember, real winners train when nobody's looking. Chapter 1. The work you do in the dark. When the lights go off, the truth comes out. When there's no one left to impress, your real habits step forward. When no one's watching, no one cheering, no one validating you, that's when your real character is tested. Most people perform when someone's watching. The rare ones, they perform when they're alone. This isn't motivation. This is mental armor. This is the voice that tells you to keep going when your mind says stop. When the cameras are off, when the world is quiet and your excuses are loud, that's when discipline is born. Because the truth is simple. The work you do unseen determines the results everyone else will see. Welcome to Funny Fun Audiobook Gala, where silence becomes strength and discipline becomes destiny. You're listening to the discipline you need when no one is watching. Sit back, lock in, and remember, real winners train when nobody's looking. Chapter 1. The work you do in the dark. When the lights go off, the truth comes out. When there's no one left to impress, your real habits step forward. When no one's watching, no applause, no pressure, only you. This is where discipline begins. Not in the gym selfie, not in the motivational post, but in the quiet, unseen, unfiltered moments when you could quit and no one would know. That's the real test. Because let's be honest, it's easy to perform when people are looking. It's easy to give your best when someone's watching your effort. But the real strength, the kind that builds unshakable confidence, happens when nobody's clapping, when the room is empty, when your phone is silent, when it's just you, the goal, and the decision to keep going. You see, discipline isn't about appearance. It's about alignment. It's not about being motivated. It's about being committed. The world doesn't reward effort it can't see, but the universe does. Every rep you do in silence, every page you read in solitude, every extra hour you give when no one notices, it compounds. That's the unseen interest of discipline. Most people stop when accountability disappears. You keep going when accountability begins with yourself. Because the truth is, your private practice is your public proof. Let's make something clear. Anyone can look disciplined. Few can live disciplined. You can post quotes, share progress, talk about change, but the work you do in the dark is the only thing that matters. That's what builds your standard. That's what defines your edge. Athletes don't win because of the crowd. They win because of the mornings when no one's there. Writers don't publish books because they're inspired. They publish because they wrote when they were empty. Entrepreneurs don't succeed because of luck. They succeed because of consistency no one saw. That's the difference. That's the separation line between potential and proof. Listen carefully. You cannot fake consistency. You can fake confidence. You can fake effort. You can fake progress. But you can't fake showing up every single day. When no one's clapping, when no one says good job, when your progress feels invisible, that's the dark place where most people stop. But that's your place you build your strength. That's your forge. That's your training ground. That's your advantage. Because here's the truth. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your standards. And standards are built in private. When it's late at night and your mind says, just rest. When you've already done enough and the world would forgive you for stopping, that's the moment that defines your future. You have a choice, always a choice. You can stop and stay comfortable, or you can push through and become unstoppable. That's the key. Discipline isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself. It whispers again. It whispers, just one more. It whispers, you said you would. And those whispers, that's where greatness begins. You might think no one cares, but you care. You might think no one's noticing, but your results are. Every small effort compounds silently until one day it explodes publicly. People will call it luck. They'll call it talent. They'll call it timing. But you'll know the truth. It was discipline. It was the dark hours, the silent reps, the lonely mornings that made you. The world only sees the outcome. It never sees the process. But you can't skip the process and expect the prize. So keep your head down. Keep your heart focused. Keep your habits sharp. The work you do in the dark isn't unseen. It's just not seen yet. The world will see it later. When it's ready. When you are ready. You have to be willing to be consistent when nobody notices. You have to be willing to believe when there's no evidence. You have to be willing to train when there's no applause. Because real power isn't found in visibility. It's found in reliability.
Repeat this to yourself every day. I will show up when it's boring. I will work when it's lonely. I will push when it's silent. I will be disciplined when no one is watching. That's your mantra. That's your code. And one day, when the spotlight finally finds you, you'll be ready. Not because the world discovered you, but because you built yourself when no one cared. That's the secret. That's the truth most people never learn. Discipline isn't built in public. It's proven there. It's built alone, in quiet rooms, in tired hearts, in early mornings and late nights. You're not working for approval. You're working for evolution. You're not chasing applause. You're chasing alignment. You're not trying to be noticed. You're trying to become undeniable. And you will, because you're doing the work no one sees, and that's the work that changes everything. You've taken the first step. You've entered the dark room where real growth happens. Now stay there. Keep building. Keep sharpening. Because what you master in the dark will one day shine in the light. You just have to keep going. You just have to remember, discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you're becoming. Chapter 2. Stop performing, start building. We live in a world obsessed with performance. Everyone wants to look successful, to sound confident, to appear disciplined. But appearances don't build empires. Habits do. You can impress people with what you show, but you can only impact people with what you build. Let's be honest. It's easy to play the part, to wear the mask, to show up like everything's perfect. But deep down, you know when you're performing. You know when you're pretending to be committed instead of actually being consistent. You know when your effort is for validation, not transformation. And that's the difference between pretending to grow and actually growing. Stop performing, start building. Performance needs an audience. Building needs discipline. Performance ends when the applause fades. Building continues when everyone's gone home. Performance says, I hope they notice me. Building says, I hope I don't stop. Think about it. When you perform, your energy depends on attention. But when you build, your energy depends on intention. Performers chase moments. Builders create momentum. Performers want praise. Builders want progress. Performers talk about the vision. Builders construct it, one brick at a time. If you want to build something that lasts, you have to stop worrying about how it looks right now. Your process won't be pretty. Your growth won't be glamorous. Your discipline won't be Instagram-worthy, but it will be real. And real always outlasts fake. You can't fake foundation. You can't Photoshop consistency. You can't filter results. The truth always reveals itself, because what you build in silence will always speak louder than what you perform in public. Listen carefully. The greatest people you admire, they weren't performers, they were builders. They weren't chasing likes, they were chasing mastery. They weren't asking for attention, they were earning respect. They weren't showing off, they were showing up. Every single day. It's time to stop trying to prove and start trying to improve. Stop talking about potential, start showing persistence. Stop waiting to be discovered, start working like you already are. Stop seeking motivation, start creating momentum. Because you don't grow by being seen, you grow by staying. By staying when it's hard, by staying when it's lonely, by staying when no one claps. That's where building happens. When you're building, it's not glamorous. No music, no spotlight, no crowd. Just you, the work, and the repetition that shapes you.
But that repetition, that's where the future forms. Every small effort adds up. Every quiet hour builds your edge. Every day you stay consistent adds another brick to your foundation. And one day, people will look at your results and call it overnight success. They won't understand that your night lasted years. Remember this: performers impress the world for a moment. Builders impact the world for a lifetime. So ask yourself, what are you doing today? Performing or building? Because only one of them lasts. The stage fades, the audience moves on, the applause dies out, but your work remains. So keep building your craft, keep refining your habits, keep showing up for yourself. Even when nobody notices, even when nobody cares, even when nobody believes. Because you're not building for attention, you're building for legacy. Repeat this to yourself. I'm not here to perform, I'm here to build. I'm not here to look strong, I'm here to be strong. That's your new identity. That's your new code. Performers fade, builders remain. The world doesn't need more people pretending to be great. It needs more people willing to become great, quietly, patiently, relentlessly. And one day, the foundation you built in the dark will carry you through every storm. The habits you built in silence will make you unstoppable. The person you became when nobody was watching will be the reason everybody is now. So stop performing, start building. Because the world doesn't need another act, it needs your authenticity. And that is where your real power begins.
Chapter 3. The Discipline of Boredom. Everybody wants to be great, until greatness gets boring. Everyone loves the idea of success, but no one loves the process that creates it. Because the process is repetitive. It's dull. It's silent. It's the same routine every single day. And that's exactly why most people quit. You say real discipline isn't built when you feel inspired. It's built when you feel nothing at all. When the excitement is gone. When the novelty fades. When it's just you and the grind. That's when your character starts talking. The discipline of boredom is simple. Can you keep showing up when it stops being exciting? That's the test. That's the line between amateurs and professionals. Amateurs crave variety. Professionals crave mastery. Amateurs need new motivation every week. Professionals rely on the same habits every day. Let's get brutally honest. The reason most people fail is not because they don't have talent. It's because they can't handle repetition. They want progress to feel like fireworks, but progress feels more like brushing your teeth. Necessary, repetitive, unexciting. You don't see instant results, but skip it long enough and decay starts. That's how life works. Every master you admire, from athletes to entrepreneurs to creators, they've all mastered one skill: the ability to stay consistent when nothing exciting happens. No crowd, no rush, no applause, just quiet repetition, day after day, brick after brick, boredom after boredom. You say you want to be elite? Then learn to fall in love with the uninteresting. Love the silence. Love the routine. Love the grind no one claps for. Because that's where real transformation begins. Not in motivation, but in monotony. Discipline doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't need music. It doesn't wait for hype. It just needs you doing what needs to be done every single time. Here's the truth. Boredom is not the enemy. It's the indicator that you're on the right path. Because repetition is where skill is born. And skill is what separates dreamers from doers. If you're bored, good. That means you're doing something long enough for it to matter. Remember this line. The work is supposed to be boring. The results are supposed to be exciting. The problem is, most people flip it. They want the work to be exciting, and the results come easy. It doesn't work like that.
If you can train yourself to stay consistent when it's boring, you're unstoppable when it's not. Because everyone shows up when it's fun, but very few show up when it's flat. That's where separation happens. Boredom breaks the weak, but it builds the strong. Because every rep you do when you don't feel like it, that's the rep that builds your edge. Every morning you wake up tired and still move, that's where your dominance begins. Discipline means doing it anyway, even when the excitement is gone, even when the results are slow, even when no one's watching. You show up, you repeat, you execute. Not because you feel like it, but because it's who you are. Say this to yourself. I don't chase motivation. I practice repetition. I don't need excitement. I need execution. That's your new standard. That's your new power. Because discipline isn't about fire. It's about fuel. And repetition is the fuel that never runs out. So when boredom comes, smile. Because that's your signal you're growing. That's your reminder you're still in the game. The undisciplined quit when it's dull. The disciplined dominate because of it. Repetition is the mother of mastery. And boredom? It's the quiet applause of consistency. Keep showing up. Keep repeating. Keep building your edge in silence. Because when the world finally sees your success, they'll never know how boring it really was. And that's the beauty of it. Chapter 4. Your mind is a battlefield. Control it or be controlled. Your biggest war is not out there, it's in here, inside your head. Every single day your mind tries to pull you back into comfort, into fear, into self-doubt. And if you don't control it, it controls you.
Your mind is the loudest enemy you'll ever face. It whispers excuses. It amplifies fear. It creates stories that never existed. It tells you you're tired when you're not. It tells you it's too late when it's early. It tells you you're not ready, even when you've been ready for years. That's the battlefield you live in. You think discipline is about doing hard things? No. Discipline is about mastering your thoughts when your mind starts lying to you. Because your thoughts don't define you, your response to them does. Listen carefully. You are not your mind. You are the commander of it. But most people, they hand over the control to emotion, to mood, to fear. That's why they break under pressure. You can't build consistency when your emotions run your schedule. You can't build greatness when your feelings dictate your focus. So how do you win this mental war? By separating you from your mind. Your mind will say, "I don't feel like working." You respond, "That's fine, but we're working anyway."
Your mind says, "This is too hard." You respond, "Good, that I'm in the right place." That's the difference between the weak and the disciplined. The weak listen to every thought. The disciplined decide which ones deserve power. Say it again. I am not my thoughts. I decide which thoughts win. That's how control begins. You can't stop the noise, but you can stop believing it. You can't silence fear, but you can starve it by acting anyway. You can't erase doubt, but you can overpower it with movement. Action kills overthinking. Execution kills fear. That's the formula. Imagine a soldier walking through chaos, bullets flying, sirens screaming, and yet he moves forward. Not because the noise is gone, but because he's trained to move through it. That's how your mind must work. Calm under fire, still under stress, unmoved under chaos. Because pressure doesn't destroy discipline, lack of control does. Every time you let your mind talk you out of progress, you lose ground. Every time you let fear delay your action, you lose control. And the more you surrender, the weaker your inner soldier becomes. But every time you push back, every time you say no to the lazy thought, no to the fear, no to the doubt, you win back territory inside yourself. That's the quiet war of self-mastery. So when your mind says stop, you go. When it says give up, you push harder. When it says this doesn't matter, you remind it everything counts. Because every decision is a vote. Every repetition is a declaration. You're training your mind to obey, not dictate. Here's the key. The goal isn't to have a quiet mind. The goal is to have a disciplined one. A mind that feels the fear but acts anyway. A mind that sees the chaos but keeps moving. A mind that listens but never submits. That's the battlefield mastery most people never reach. Discipline starts in the body, but it's built in the mind. If your thoughts are wild, your actions will be weak. If your mind is calm, your execution will be sharp. That's why you must train it daily. Just like you train muscles, you train mental control. Because focus is not natural, it's earned through repetition. You want peace? Win the war inside your head first. Silence the drama. Starve the noise. Command your thoughts like a soldier commands his troops. Because if you don't lead your mind, it will lead you back into mediocrity. Every champion, every leader, every legend, they've mastered this battlefield.
They don't fight emotion, they use it. They don't escape fear, they face it. They don't wait for calm, they create it. And that's what separates the disciplined from the distracted. Remember this forever. The mind is your servant, not your master. You either train it to follow your orders or you become its prisoner. Choose who's in charge, because when you win this war inside, there's nothing outside that can touch you.
Chapter 5. The Weight of Consistency. Why the Little Things Build the Giant Within. Everyone wants to change their life overnight. No one wants to repeat the same small act every day for years. That's the truth. We live in a world addicted to speed, but discipline only grows in repetition. Consistency. That's your superpower. It's not glamorous, it's not loud, but it's the only path that actually works. Listen carefully. You don't get strong by lifting once. You get strong by showing up again and again, even when no one notices. Because real power doesn't come from intensity, it comes from continuity. Anyone can work hard for a day. Few can work steadily for a decade. That's the separation. Every giant you admire, every athlete, every CEO, every builder of something great, they all mastered one truth. Consistency beats brilliance when brilliance stops showing up. It's not about being perfect, it's about being present, over and over again. Let me tell you something that'll change the way you see success forever. Success isn't built in explosions, it's built in echoes. It's built in the sound of footsteps hitting the gym floor again. It's built in the quiet click of the keyboard at 5 a.m. It's built in the repetition no one claps for. Every small act compounds. Every micro-discipline adds up. Think of it like this. Every day you show up, you add a brick. Most people quit before the wall starts to form. You can't see progress in the beginning. That's why most people never finish. They mistake invisibility for ineffectiveness. They don't realize that the wall of mastery only becomes visible to those who keep building, even when it feels pointless. That's the price. That's the law. Consistency is the proof of belief. Anyone can say they want change. Few can prove it by their routine. Because every act you repeat becomes your identity. Every action you sustain rewires your mind. And every time you choose to keep going, even without results, you train your brain to respect you. That's self-trust. That's discipline. Say this to yourself. I don't need motivation. I need repetition. I don't chase results. I build patterns. Because you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits. That's where the real game is played. Let's get brutally honest again. If you can't handle boredom, you can't handle mastery. If you can't stay consistent, you can't stay successful. People talk about luck. They talk about timing. But the truth is, none of that matters without consistency. Consistency creates its own timing. It builds its own luck. It makes the world notice eventually. Every time you show up when it's hard, you add invisible weight to your inner foundation. And that foundation, it doesn't crack easily. It becomes unshakable because you've proven to yourself that you can keep going no matter what. That's what separates the fragile from the focused. Here's the thing. The gym is never about the weights. It's about showing up when you're tired. Writing isn't about inspiration. It's about typing when the mind is empty. Success isn't about talent. It's about persistence when results are invisible. It's not what you do once that matters. It's what you do always. Remember this formula. Small disciplines plus long time equals massive results. It's not a secret. It's not magic. It's math. You keep stacking small wins, you keep adding quiet effort, and one day,
It all collides. People call it luck. You'll call it proof. Because when you're consistent long enough, the world starts to notice. Not because you shouted louder, but because your work whispered for years. That's how giants are built, brick by brick, day by day, repetition by repetition. Consistency isn't sexy, it's sacred. So stop chasing perfect days, start building repeatable ones. You don't have to be extreme, you just have to be consistent. You don't have to impress, you just have to persist. Because the weight of consistency may be heavy, but it's the only weight that builds strength you can't lose. Say it with me. I'll win because I won't stop. I'll grow because I'll keep showing up. That's the mindset that separates those who talk about discipline from those who embody it. Consistency is the proof that you believe in yourself. It's the language of discipline, and it's the one thing no one can fake. So build it quietly, carry it proudly, and never let a single lazy day break your momentum. Because the world doesn't remember who started fast, it remembers who never stopped. Chapter 6. Respect the process. Stop chasing the outcome. Everyone says they want success, but few are willing to respect the process that success demands. They want results now. They want validation now. They want recognition now. And that's exactly why they never get any of it. Listen closely. The world doesn't pay for your want. It pays for your work. You can't microwave mastery. You can't fast forward through the grind. You can't demand results from seeds you never watered. That's the truth nobody wants to hear, but it's the only truth that actually builds something real. The process is not punishment, it's preparation. It's the fire that refines you. It's the grind that grows you. It's the silence that strengthens you. And if you run from it, you're not avoiding pain, you're avoiding growth. Every day you choose shortcuts, you choose weakness. Every time you chase the outcome instead of the work, you trade long-term power for short-term comfort. That's why most people never make it. They start something, and when the results don't come fast, they quit. But discipline means staying the course, even when it looks like nothing's happening.
Here's the truth. Nothing is happening on the surface, but everything is happening beneath it. Seeds take time. Roots grow in silence. And progress, real progress, is invisible before it becomes unstoppable. You can't see it at first, but that doesn't mean it's not there. That's why you must learn to love the process more than the prize. Because when you respect the process, you stop needing results to feel progress. You stop begging for outcomes. You stop needing applause. You start understanding that the daily repetition is the victory. That every quiet effort is success in motion. And suddenly, the work itself becomes your reward. Let me make this simple. If you can't love the process, you'll never survive success. Because success doesn't get easier, it gets heavier. It demands more. It tests you deeper. The only people who endure are the ones who built their identity in the doing, not the reward. They don't ask, when will I get there? They ask, how can I get better here? That's the difference between the impatient and the unstoppable. You want to build something lasting? Then stop chasing the finish line. Start falling in love with the steps. The gym, the repetition, the silence, the early mornings, the late nights. That's where the magic hides. The moment you make peace with the process, you stop fighting reality and start shaping it. Most people live in emotional debt. They only feel good when they win. They only feel confident when they're praised. They only feel worthy when they're seen. That's weakness.
Because the real power is in doing the work with no applause, believing in the unseen, and trusting the process, even when the world doubts you. Say this to yourself every morning. I trust the process. I move without results. I act without applause. That's not arrogance. That's discipline. That's conviction. You're not working for approval. You're working for alignment. You're not chasing outcomes. You're building foundations. And that's the mindset that creates unstoppable momentum. You see, when you chase results, you rush your growth. But when you respect the process, you compound your strength. Results are temporary. The process is eternal. One fades, the other evolves. One ends, the other continues. So stop asking, how long will it take? Start asking, how far can I go if I never quit? Here's a reality check. You can't control how fast success comes, but you can always control how consistently you show up. That's your power. That's your edge. The world rewards those who stay when everyone else stops. So stay. Stay in the grind. Stay in the silence. Stay when it's hard, because that's where your character is built. You're not behind. You're being built. You're not failing. You're forming. You're not stuck. You're strengthening. Every delay is discipline in disguise. Every slow season is a setup for something stronger. So stop doubting the process. Start respecting it, because the more you respect it, the more it rewards you. And one day, when results finally come, you won't even be surprised, because you'll know you earned it, brick by brick, day by day, step by step. You'll look back and realize you didn't chase success, you became it.
Chapter 7. Discipline over motivation. The power of doing it anyway. Everyone loves motivation until it disappears. Everyone wants to feel ready until the feeling never comes. But here's the truth, the raw truth. Motivation is a guest. It visits. It leaves. Discipline is the owner of the house. Motivation is emotion. Discipline is commitment. Motivation says, I feel like it. Discipline says, I'll do it anyway. Motivation is loud when life is easy. Discipline whispers when life gets real. You see, anyone can show up when they're inspired, but few can show up when they're exhausted, doubtful, and unseen. And that's what separates the dreamers from the doers, the inspired from the consistent, the motivated from the unstoppable. The truth is, motivation can start your journey, but only discipline will finish it. Motivation burns quick. Discipline burns slow. Motivation gives you the spark. Discipline builds the fire. Think about it. Motivation says, I'll do it tomorrow. Discipline says, tomorrow doesn't exist, only now does. Motivation waits for the mood. Discipline creates the moment. Motivation runs on comfort. Discipline runs on commitment. That's why real growth isn't built on hype. It's built on habit. Because hype fades, but habits remain. If you rely on motivation, you'll only work on your best days. If you rely on discipline, you'll win even on your worst ones. And that's the difference between being talented and being unstoppable. Every day, your mind gives you two choices: stay comfortable or stay consistent. Motivation will always pick comfort, but discipline picks consistency every single time. That's the muscle you're building. Not just the strength to act, but the strength to act without feeling like it.
Most people say, I'll go to the gym when I'm motivated. I'll work hard when I feel ready. I'll start when I feel inspired. And that's why they stay exactly where they are. Because the truth is, you'll never feel ready. You don't wait for readiness. You create it. Through repetition, through action, through showing up anyway. Let me tell you something powerful. Motivation gives you permission to start. Discipline gives you no excuse to stop. That's the energy that builds legends. That's the mindset that keeps you moving when everything says stop. When your alarm goes off at 5 a.m., motivation will hit snooze, but discipline will rise. When no one's watching your progress, motivation will fade, but discipline will grind. When results slow down, motivation will panic, but discipline will persist. And that's why discipline always wins, because it's built on decision, not emotion. Motivation needs a reason. Discipline is the reason.
Here's the reality most people run from. You don't need to be motivated to move forward. You just need to move forward until motivation returns. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates emotion. And emotion reignites motivation. It all starts with that first act of discipline. So next time your mind says, I don't feel like it, you look right back and say, that's exactly why I'm doing it. Because every time you act against resistance, you train your mind to obey your vision, not your mood. That's where freedom begins. When you stop letting your emotions lead you and start letting your standards define you. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is a standard. Motivation fades. Discipline builds empires. The strongest people you know, they weren't born consistent. They trained it. They didn't feel like showing up. They chose to. Day after day. Set after set. Step after step. And one day, it wasn't a fight anymore. It was a lifestyle. So stop chasing motivation. Build discipline. Because one will make you excited for a day, and the other will make you unstoppable for life. Repeat this to yourself every morning before you start. I do it anyway. I don't wait to feel ready. I act first. Feelings follow. That's your weapon. That's your code. That's your discipline. And remember this always. Motivation might make you move, but discipline makes you different. Chapter 8. Your excuses are lying. The voice in your head isn't your friend. There's a voice inside your head. It sounds like you. It speaks like you. But it's not your friend. That voice, it's the one that says, maybe later. It's not the right time. You deserve a break. Sounds comforting, right? But that's the voice of comfort. And comfort is the silent killer of potential. That voice isn't protecting you. It's limiting you. It whispers small, soft lies. So small, you start believing they're true. It says, you're tired, rest now. You've done enough today. No one will notice if you skip this one time. And every time you listen, you lose a little more control of your life. Excuses aren't random. They're rehearsed. Your brain has been training you to accept them for years. Because the human mind hates discomfort. It avoids the hard, it runs from pressure, and it disguises laziness as logic. Think about it. When you say, I'll do it tomorrow, you don't mean to lie, but your comfort zone does. When you say, I'm waiting for the right time, you're not being strategic. You're being scared. When you say, I'll start when I'm ready, you're not preparing. You're procrastinating. Excuses have one goal, to keep you safe. safe from failure, safe from judgment, safe from effort. But safe is just another word for stuck.
The truth? Your excuses are not protecting your peace. They're protecting your weakness. And every time you listen, you give that weakness a little more power. Let's be real. You don't need motivation. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need to feel like it. You just need to stop negotiating with your inner coward. That voice inside your head, it's not your friend. It's your prison guard. It keeps you comfortable, keeps you quiet, keeps you average. But here's the secret the strong know. You can't silence that voice, but you can override it. You can talk louder. You can act faster. You can move before your mind talks you out of it. Because when you act faster than your fear never wins. Every time you push through an excuse, you weaken it. Every time you ignore it, you starve it. Every time you move anyway, you kill it. That's how warriors are built, not by avoiding weakness, but by walking straight through it. Remember, your excuses are clever. They'll sound reasonable. They'll sound responsible. They'll even sound self-loving. They'll say, you need rest. You're overworking. You're doing your best. But if deep down you know you're capable of more, then those words aren't love. They're lies. Discipline isn't about ignoring your feelings. It's about deciding who's in charge. You or the voice. The vision or the comfort. The goal or the excuse. Only one wins. Next time that voice starts whispering, skip today. You can do it later. No one will know. You answer back, I will know, and that's enough. Because that's the difference between average and exceptional. Average listens to the voice. Exceptional leads it. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting for silence in your mind. It won't come. You don't silence the noise, you outwork it. Remember this line. Excuses sound best to the person who's making them, but results sound better to everyone else. Every time you feel that lazy whisper creeping in, that's your test, that's your fight, that's your moment to prove who's in control. Don't feed the voice. Starve it with action. Drown it with discipline. Destroy it with proof. Because when you do, you stop being a slave to your excuses and start becoming the master of your mind. This is your new rule. I hear the voice, but I don't obey it. That's how you build mental freedom. That's how you win.
Chapter 9. The Price of Comfort. How easy kills everything you want. You think comfort is peace. It's not. Comfort is the slowest form of destruction. You don't see it killing you because it does it quietly. One skipped day, one delayed task, one more hour of rest. Comfort doesn't destroy your life in one big explosion. It erases it one soft excuse at a time. You say you want greatness, but greatness doesn't grow in comfort. It grows in chaos, in discipline, in pressure, in discomfort. The gym is uncomfortable. Waking up early is uncomfortable. Saying no to distraction is uncomfortable. But that's where growth hides, in the discomfort everyone avoids. The truth is comfort has fooled you. It's not peace. It's poison. It doesn't calm your life. It kills your hunger. It doesn't make you happy. It makes you harmless. You've seen it happen. Someone gets a little success and they stop grinding. Someone starts to feel stable and they stop pushing. And before long, they start slipping. Because comfort doesn't keep you where you are. It quietly pulls you backward. Every time you choose easy, you're choosing weaker. Every time you pick convenience over consistency, you're training your mind to settle.
And once the mind learns to settle, it forgets how to fight. That's the real cost of comfort. Not money, not time, identity. You stop recognizing yourself. You start losing your edge. You forget that you were once built for more. Ask yourself, when was the last time you did something that scared you? When was the last time you woke up with purpose instead of pressure? When was the last time you chased progress instead of praise? If you can't remember, you've been sleeping inside your comfort zone too long. You've made easy your lifestyle. You've made later your default. You've made fine your limit. But here's the truth no one tells you. Easy never made anyone proud. Easy never built legacies. Easy never forged warriors. Easy never inspired anyone to rise. You know what does? Pain, consistency, discipline. The grind that no one sees, the struggle that no one claps for, the fight that no one believes in except you. Because comfort gives you nothing, but taking the hard road gives you everything. It gives you proof. It gives you pride. It gives you peace, the kind that's earned, not borrowed. So stop worshiping comfort like it's success. Stop protecting your softness like it's self-love. Stop confusing peace with paralysis. Real peace comes after the fight, not before it. Real confidence comes after effort, not comfort. Real strength comes after pain, not ease. Every moment you feel yourself leaning toward easy, remember this. Easy is expensive. It costs you growth. It costs you respect. It costs you dreams. That's the price of comfort, and it's never worth it. You can't serve two masters. You can't chase comfort and chase greatness at the same time. You have to choose. Do you want the feeling of now or the fulfillment of forever? Do you want the comfort of staying the same or the power of becoming more? Because you can't have both. You don't need another break. You don't need a motivational quote. You need discomfort. You need friction. You need challenge. You need resistance, because resistance is what builds muscle, mind, and meaning. Every strong person you admire lives in discomfort, not because they love pain, but because they understand it's the only way through. They stopped running from hard things. They started chasing them, and that's why they win.
Repeat this to yourself every time you want to quit. Easy is the enemy. Effort is my edge. That's the code. That's the mindset. That's the way out. So next time your body says rest, ask yourself, is it recovery or resistance? Next time your mind says later, ask yourself, is it logic or laziness? And when life offers you an easy path, remember, the easy road leads to regret. The hard one leads to respect. Comforts will cost you everything you say you want. Discipline will give you everything you're willing to earn. So choose wisely, because every easy choice today builds a lifetime of regret tomorrow. Chapter 10. When no one claps, keep going anyway. You will have days when no one sees your effort, days when no one thanks you, days when no one claps. And on those days, you ask yourself, does this even matter? And the answer is yes. That's the only time it matters. Discipline isn't built when the world celebrates you. It's built when the world forgets you and you still show up. The applause isn't proof of progress. The process is. You have to understand something. Most people only move when they're seen. They perform for validation. They work for approval. They exist for attention. But you're different. You do the work because it needs to be done. You show up when no one calls your name. You keep your promises in private. That's real discipline. The quiet hours, the lonely nights,
The unseen grind, that's where self-respect is born. Because when you do what's right with no witness, you build something no one can take away. Integrity. Every time you move without praise, you prove something to yourself. You're not doing it for them. You're doing it for you. And that's freedom. Let the world sleep on you. Let them underestimate you. Let them forget your name. Because one day, your results will speak so loud, no one will ever forget you again. Remember this. The real ones never needed the crowd. They built their legacy in silence, and the world only heard the echo. So if you're not getting noticed, good. It means you're still in training. If they're not cheering, perfect. It means you're not performing. You're building. If they don't clap, clap for yourself. Because the most powerful sound in the world is not applause. It's persistence. That quiet decision to keep going. That unseen act of consistency. That silent, stubborn kind of strength that doesn't quit when the lights go out.
You don't need their validation. You need your vision. You don't need their noise. You need your focus. You don't need their permission. You need your discipline. There will be people who doubt you, ignore you, laugh at you, and question you. But here's the secret. You don't need to prove them wrong. You just need to outlast them. Because time has a way of revealing the truth. And the truth is simple. Those who keep going always win. Not because they're the most talented, not because they're the most gifted, but because they refuse to stop. Every day you show up, you separate yourself. Every day you keep going, you pull away from the crowd. Every day you stay consistent, you build a life no one can copy. That's what discipline does. It doesn't make you loud, it makes you legendary. So when no one claps, when no one cares, when no one notices, remember, you're not here for noise. You're here for results. Keep going when it's boring. Keep going when it's quiet. Keep going when it's lonely. Because the silence that breaks others will build you. One day, they'll ask how you did it. One day they'll wonder where you came from. And you'll smile because you'll know you were there the whole time, doing the work they never saw. This is the final truth. Discipline doesn't need witnesses. It just needs you. And if you can live by that, you'll never need applause again. Now take a breath. This is where the story comes full circle. When no one's watching, you show up. When no one claps, you keep going. When no one believes, you believe harder. Because that's who you've become. Not just disciplined, unbreakable. You've just finished The Discipline You Need When No One Is Watching, full audiobook, presented by Funny Fun Audiobook Gala. If this audiobook spoke to your soul, don't just listen, live it. Like, share, and subscribe to Funny Fun Audiobook Gala for more life-changing audiobooks. And remember, the quiet work you do today becomes the loud victory tomorrow. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's not about followers, likes, or applause. It's about what you do when there's no reward, no attention, no recognition. Every quiet rep, every unseen act, every early morning and late night, they're all deposits into your future. You've just learned the truth. Discipline is the difference between potential and proof. You don't owe anyone your consistency. You owe it to yourself. Because when the world finally sees you, they're not seeing talent. They're seeing the thousands of invisible hours you refuse to waste. From this moment forward, stop performing. Start building. Show up when it's boring, train when it's silent, work when it's unseen. Because the discipline you build when no one is watching, that's the foundation that makes you unstoppable when everyone is.
This is your reminder. You are not waiting to be discovered. You are building something worth being found. Now go, prove it.